Hi everyone, my name's MadMatt Lugos and welcome back to Death Stranding. So last time we learned Hartman's story really about how he's got this kind of heart issue, this rare complication in his heart, and he actually has like a cartoon shaped heart or something along those lines. There was a void out when he was undergoing heart surgery where his family supposedly died and he went to die with them, but he was brought back and he's permanently in search of his
Always like the quiet.
wife and daughter on the beach, basically. He dies every 21 minutes, spends 3 minutes on the beach, which we know that time operates slightly differently on the beach and in the seam, so he probably spends a lot of time there looking for them. I don't know how just coincidental that the picture of his daughter looked like a younger version
Enjoy it. At least
of
while it
of the
lasts.
photographer. Um, it might just be nothing to do with her. So um, all of the characters really we've met, whether it was Bridget, Amelie, Deadman, Mama, and Hartman, they're all basically, and Sam really, they're all kind of dead in a certain way. They've all had some sort of dealings with the beach, with the other side, and they're all kind of stories of tragedy, really. And whether we're all going to be kind of sacrificed in the end because I guess they're kind of on borrowed time, a lot of them. But yeah. So now we need to reconnect the last few areas to the chiral network. In the meantime, I've been doing a lot of grinding, as you can see from the stars on my trousers. Uh, I've got every accessible person up to 5 stars. I've built all the roads, which was a grind and a half. One of these pavers needed an absurd amount of stuff. I think it was this one. It needed like 3,000 chiral crystals and 3,000 ceramics, 3,000 metals. So that was just a pain doing that. But the rest of it wasn't too tough to finish off. And I 5-starred everyone. There wasn't really anything interesting that some of these new preppers said. So we met the novelist's son. He was pretty simple to 5-star. Um, he didn't want to join at first, like a few of the other preppers, but we convinced him eventually. I did actually meet the first prepper, so he's a descendant of someone who sort of hibernated after, I don't know what terrorist attacks they were insinuating triggered his grandfather or his great grandfather to go into like a shelter. I don't know if they were implicating maybe the Twin Towers attacks or whether they were implicating like a fictional terrorist event, you know, that isn't based in the real world. I'm not sure. He was very reluctant to join at first, but he just seemed to turn himself around. I didn't really have to do much other than deliver stuff to him. So uh, I got an interesting message from the roboticist at one point where she said, "Where is it? The roboticist." Yeah, she made it out like she was an AI, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then she was like, "No, not really." I was like, it's a real revelation. Um, I did as many pizza deliveries as possible for Peter Engler, but nothing, no more of them will trigger, and he's still stuck on 1 star. I did find the veteran porter, but that's closed. I can't get in. Similar to when I met the first prepper, and everyone else is now on 5 stars. Got the doctor up there. Mountain Knot took quite a lot of deliveries or heavy deliveries to upgrade. Mountaineers up there now. Spiritualist has made some interesting discoveries um, about Egypt and pyramids. And she was talking about the moon here, about how she went to the beach. Um, Interesting connection to some of the stuff that Unger said in that bit with BB, where he was talking about the moon. Give me some Bloodborne vibes with all this kind of talk of the moon and that kind of stuff. Yeah, she was talking here about the Egyptians. So, I mean, I'm not always a fan of this, but like it seems like Kojima's pointing towards a lot of conspiracies or ambiguities and then tying them into the truth of the Death Stranding of the beach and the scene, and that a lot of some of these more mysterious things in the history of Earth were actually things connected to the beach. And like a lot of people who believe in extraterrestrials and stuff always point towards the Egyptian civilization as being some sort of um, something that's very different to most of the civilizations, and that it couldn't possibly have been built by humans. The kind of architecture of the pyramids, about how they were also perfectly shaped, couldn't have possibly have been done without machines and stuff like that. And he's tapping into that similar kind of thing with what he's saying about the dinosaurs, about the extinction and things like that, which is very interesting. We got a new type of cryptobiote from the novelist's son. That's the unique thing he gave us, which basically eating just one of them fully restores your health. You don't need to eat several. I've got the level 3 all-terrain skeleton from the roboticist. I don't think there's much else really. I do have quite a lot of data logs. Oh, I've got some more memory chips. We'll probably do with activating them. More bikes, it seems. But we'll just kick things off. I've been talking for too long now. So let's pick up our mission here. I've shown you all my stars, so let's just get that back on. Get our all-terrain skeleton back on. I'm fully equipped and ready to go. I've got a fresh pair of Chiral boots. I've got the thermal pads because we're going to be trekking through the mountains again. I've got all the different skeletons, a fresh bowler gun. So let's pick up this mission. I'm just going to refresh myself with the briefing.
You've been tasked with delivering chiralium scrubbing agents to a geologist of ours. He's been exposed to dangerous levels of chiralium during his latest excavation, and is exhibiting all the associated symptoms.
Uh-oh.
The strata he's dug into apparently contains a fossil beach dating back to the end of the Cretaceous period. Now, I'm told that could be a significant discovery should it be confirmed. But we'll never know for sure if he can't decontaminate the site and carry on with his work.
Okay. Paleontologist.
A paleontologist of ours needs an antimatter bomb for an important excavation. Seems the strata he's attempting to reach is beneath a layer of tar, and he has no choice but to resort to drastic measures. The bomb is safely secured in its case, but if you're careless and break the damn thing, you know what'll happen.
Okay. Let's just see how heavy these are. I don't know if I'll have to do one at a time. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 smalls. And the bomb, obviously, it's just one extra large. Might need a floating carrier. I should perhaps do these one at a time, shouldn't I? I feel like I should do these one at a time.
A geologist of ours has been studying fossils as part of his research into prehistoric extinction events. He's been out there conducting excavations for a while now and has begun to suffer the effects of chiral contamination. No doubt the result of excessive exposure to chiralium during the dig. Until the site is properly decontaminated, his work can't proceed. Nor will his health improve. So we need you to bring him some chiralium scrubbing agents.
The strata the team was investigating dates from the end of the Cretaceous period, the time of the infamous mass extinction, which brought the reign of the dinosaurs to a close, leaving small mammals to inherit the Earth. It's the most recent of the Big Five, and one of the largest mass extinctions the world has ever seen. In any event, our team found something truly remarkable. Can you guess what it was? A fossil beach. If that is indeed what it is, then he has made a tremendous discovery. Therefore, Sam, it is essential that you deliver those chiralium scrubbing agents as soon as possible.
Okay. Fossil beach. Does that mean we're going to run into dinosaurs and the like? So I'll probably use a floating carrier for the bomb when we come back for it, but I'm not picking that up just yet. So I've got one PCC, I've got a few climbing anchors. I do have the special climbing anchors stored somewhere, but I can't remember where I've put them. Let's just check the damage on this bit. Yeah, I refreshed all of these. I think I got some hematics in case we have to walk through BT territory.
Order assigned.
One thing I just forgot to mention, actually, I was dressed in a private room and I realised I've never clicked on wash in the sink, use the sink, and when I used the sink, Sam was dreaming and it was actually Higgs appeared behind him. He turned around and then when Sam turned around, he had the gold mask on. I couldn't record in time because it happened so quick, but very interesting. I don't know, like the whole Sam having the mask on, you know, his identity might be sort of in question a little bit. So let's have a brief look at the map. It's not too, was it about a kilometre? No, it's only about half a kilometre away, so there's going to be wind, it seems. Easiest way to get there is likely just there's a path here that someone else seems to have taken towards the geologist. Not towards the geologist, towards the other person, but no, that was the route I took to get back to the Timefall farm. Yeah, so if we go through here and then we just need to take a left and avoid climbing all the way up the mountain until we need to maybe build a zipline network, but I'll walk there for this one. So I think if we go here, 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 and that should get us there now. Let's give it a shot. We'll keep nice and toasty. I've got the level 3 spare battery thing. I can't remember where I got that from. Got it from maybe the distro north of Mountain Knot or from Mountain Knot. I can't remember which one it was.
Weapons restrictions lifted.
I've just got to say, I think I've been playing the game a bit too much. I felt really drained after I did all that grinding to get all 5 stars and build all the roads and build the zipline network going all over the show. I felt pretty drained. I was like, okay, I don't want to ruin my own enjoyment by grinding too much. So I think I'm just going to progress the story as much as I can for the moment. And I don't know when I'm going to... After we unlock these next 3, I think these might be the last 3 along with the veteran porter. They might be... they might be like the last ones we need to get. So hopefully, because they're preppers, they won't be too difficult to 5-star because... Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit, I feel like I've tested my own enjoyment a little bit by doing too much grinding. I should have perhaps only done half of that and come back to the main story. But it's very weird because it's I can't remember a game really that I've played on the channel where I've played so much off camera because I really don't feel like I should have recorded some of the side mission stuff. I don't think, you know, doing all those deliveries, because I think if this is episode 25, so let's just say each episode's roughly an hour, hour and a half, so that's around 30 hours on camera. I've probably got another 30 hours off camera, which is a bit crazy to think. This is going to be a storm, I think. Okay, I think I've got 14 hematics, got the bowler gun, we can cut umbilical cords if we need to. Otherwise, I'll just try and move through as quick as possible. I completely forgot early in the game to turn off the slow-mo thing for the BTs. Yeah, this is the bit that I got ambushed in. Oh, dear me. I don't know how many of them I should think about taking out. It's so slow crawling through the snow, dude. So there was one that had orange all around it, wasn't there? Can't believe I've come through this area again. I should have climbed the mountain. It was here. It was around here, the orange one. So this looks like an old, not old buildings, but an old settlement. Right, is the orange one here? Yeah, we want absolutely nothing to do with him. There's several orange ones. Yeah, the containers are going really quick in the snow. Didn't bring any container repair spray. Okay, bricking it now. I know, Lou, I know. Okay. Hopefully that's the worst of it. Wonder what... Containers are ruined. Yeah, really heavy time fall here. Oh, it's not the end of it. I still feel like walking normally through here, when it's flashing this much, triggers them. They're reasonably close now. I think that's... Come on, tell me that's the worst of it over. Is that a heart? Look! There's a person there. Oh, was it just that sign? Oh, it's a hologram. Okay, we need a motor here. Really caught in a storm now. Can't see anything, dude. Okay, we're getting near some cliffs, gotta be careful. So from the glimpse we saw of the map of the western region, it seems like that's going to be like a big showdown area, doesn't it? Hello? With Higgs, essentially, it doesn't look like it's going to be a separate map, and a lot of those areas and states were ruined by the tar. So. Okay, that was reasonable. The weather here is atrocious. Alright. You've got your medication, sir. Let's hope he makes it.
Delivering cargo. bridges. Oh, thank God for that. I was worried you might not get here in time. But then I've done nothing but worry of late. I've been haunted by those visions you doom sufferers see. That end of days stuff. I put the nightmares down to fatigue. The possibility of chiral contamination never even occurred to me. It's just lucky we caught it before the suicidal stage. Dying's not an option. My research is nowhere near complete. It's not just my life you're saving here. It's my life's work. I started to wonder if I'd ever see these meds. I guess you really are good at what you do, huh? Thank you.
Okay. Excellent. So he'll no doubt join the network. I'll be able to get some PCCs, build some zip lines, going back to Hartman's lab, pick up the other one, and then I'll be able to get around the BTs. Pretty much easier even. Okay. I had upgraded it more since the last episode, but now we're obviously a bit higher. So, expert deliverer, the porters of yesteryear look on with bated breath to see if you will finally surpass them. Grade 60. No, harder to lose consciousness. Okay.
Oh, yes. Right then. If you'd do the honors.
Level 2, climbing anchor. Nice.
And just like that, I'm part of the UCA. With access to a treasure trove of historical research materials. Studying this fossil beach should be a good deal easier now. Assuming I can prove once for all that that's what it is. Honestly, though, I'm just excited I can finally share these findings with everyone. Can you believe I found chiral deposits in strata dating back 65.5 million years? Evidence of an ancient Death Stranding.
Chiral matter has existed on Earth since long before the dawn of man. This stratum is proof of that. Look at this, Sam. Do you see that black fissure there? We believe this is the source of the Chiralian readings. In the distant past, earthquakes caused frictional melting along fault lines, producing layers of what is known as pseudotaculite. We call these layers fossil earthquakes. Extending the principle, our fissure here is what one might term a fossil beach. The presence of Chiralium in this of all strata cannot be a mere coincidence. It strongly suggests that beaches must have appeared during the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction event. And not just then. The chiral network has recovered data suggesting that similar fossil beaches were discovered in strata corresponding to other extinction events too. That would seem to indicate the Big Five and all other major extinctions were accompanied by the appearance of beaches. In expanding the chiral network, you've helped us glimpse a pattern in these scattered points of data. You've furthered our individual research projects and ensured that it is only a matter of time before we recover all we have lost and solve every mystery that remains. But this is only the beginning. See this through, Sam, and there's no telling what we might learn.
Good work. New order available.
So it seems
Please
to hit.
access delivery terminal for further information.
Seems to hint at there being like a kind of. The Death Stranding seems to occur when the creatures that live in the world, maybe it's to do with overpopulation or exhausting parts of the world or something along those lines. Let's just see what's available in terms of zip lines. We've got one in a really weird place just there. You'd think one right on the peak could be more useful. Where have I gone? So the peak is, yeah, so that's only 170 whatever meters away. So if we could get up here, place a zip line up here, we can skip these BTs altogether to get to the guy who's in this region. He was around here, right? Oh, but we won't. Will we be able to transport the bomb on them? I think we will. Got one just there, right on the border, which should be useful. How far away is that? Oh, that's a bit far away. If we upgrade one of the zip lines, I have been upgrading some of them. Okay, let's pinch some PCCs from this guy and try and get back to Hartman's lab. And he might have some orders for Hartman. I've already 5-starred Hartman. More compact, enables more anchors to be packed in. Yeah. Okay. Alright, let's just have a look at his orders. Yeah, this isn't really stuff we need to worry about. How damaged are my thermal pads? Oh. They're fine. Okay, so the network is the thing that we need. The zipline network is what we need to be thinking about now. So someone's got one built just up here. Right? Where was it? Am I going blind? Aha! I prefer one right next to him, to be honest. So I think I'll just stick one here, get rid of that one, climb all the way to the top, and then that should sort me out, I think. We should be able to build one right on the peak there. Okay, let's do some climbing. And then I think if we do that, I think transporting a, you know, that bomb should be a bit more straightforward.
Construction complete.
This is going to be a rough climb. Was there a generator down there? There was, yeah. These thermal pads use up quite a bit of your battery, so let's just get a sneaky charge before we re-enter this horrible storm. There we go. And let's just put a little marker down for where we could potentially need one of these. So I don't know. I think I'm just gonna have to play it by the ear. Somewhere up there. Let's just see how easy it is to climb. It might be very difficult climbing up here. I don't want to deal with any more BTs, man. Oh, I did pick up a bunch of like little extras that you put on the backpack. They all give you the slight buffs. I've forgotten which one I've got equipped. I don't know if you can see in this weather. I've got the bell. Is it the bell? I can't remember now what it does. Like, some of them make it harder. I think this reduces time fall. I think it's the weather one. Yeah, this might not work going this way. I think we need to come from around the side, and then it might be an easier way to climb to the top. See, I hate it when it does that, man. Sorry, Lulu. Come on, mate. There we go. There you go, buddy. Can't hang out in this weather like this, man. Battery's draining pretty quick in this weather. Let's try and get to the top and hope we've got a clear view of that zip line we've put down near the Geologist. No, 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 please, please don't. To the left. We need to have it right on the peak to be able to get over to the other side. It's going to be really difficult getting up anywhere here. There we go. Are we at the highest point? Almost. I don't think I'm going to be able to see it though. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, I think we will be able to. Maybe. Let's see. God, I hate the placement of these, just because, right, that connects all of them. Let's just go. Flat strands down there though. So we can quickly hop over here with the bomb. And just go from here basically.
Construction complete.
A lot of black strands. Right, can we reach the one I put near Hartman's lab? Yes! Perfect. Alright, no more B2s. Excellent, guys. Excellent.
Beginning scan. Scanning bridges ID. Verifying ID. Clear. Weapons detected. All weapons will be locked until departure.
Nuclear bomb.
Welcome, Sam Porter Bridges.
Keep on keeping on.
Let's just I'll just fill up my battery first.
Weapons restrictions lifted. Beginning scan. Scanning bridges ID. Verifying ID. Clear. Weapons detected. All weapons will be locked until departure.
Who's driven
All clear.
a bright pink
Sam Porter.
truck right up to Hartman's door? It's can be a little frustrating when you build roads sometimes and there are just random vehicles just strewn all over the place when you're trying to make the premium deliveries on time within that 5-minute window. Okay, let's take on. I did listen to the briefing, didn't I? Anti-malware bomb. So I think I should take this on my back. We won't be able to do any climbing if we have the floating carrier, so...
Listen up, Sam.
Alright.
For this run, you'll be transporting an antimatter bomb. A Bridges paleontologist working on a dig says he needs it. Apparently, the fossils he wants to study are buried deep beneath tar, and the only way he can get to them is by blowing it wide open. Now, hopefully I don't need to tell you to be extra careful when handling high-yield explosives. But in case I do, make sure you keep that container in one piece, no matter what.
Oh, shut up, Die Hardman. Just shut up. Alright, let's pick up some more PCCs.
Sam, I'm sure you haven't forgotten, but you need to be extremely careful with that antimatter bomb. Especially when transporting it by a carrier or vehicle. Any irregularities should trigger an alarm. Don't ignore it.
Just leave me alone, man. Just leave me alone. Should I put it in the cover, do you think? Yeah, it might get knocked off or something. It's an extra large, so I'm going to have to get rid of everything. Oh, the bowler gun. Right, that should be okay, shouldn't it? It doesn't have to stay horizontal like a pizza, does it? I'm probably going to blow it up after me ruin Die Hardman's warnings.
Order assigned.
This bowler gun is toast, isn't it? Alright, I think we're set.
Thank you for your contribution.
So let's just have a look where he is exactly. So it's pretty much a descent, isn't it? The BT region was here, so we likely need to avoid most of that. Oh, it's very steep, isn't it? Very, very steep. We have to be real careful here, man. So what would be the best way of coming down this slope? This looks like the more mild descent, doesn't it? Or we could come to like a really steep point and abseil down, right? Because we've got all those climbing anchors. That might be safer. I feel like walking down a lot of these steep points actually is a lot riskier. You know, on something that's like a mild slope, but walking down it as opposed to just picking the steepest route possible and then just using climbing anchors to get down. I feel like that might be a bit safer. We'll try that.
Keep on keeping on.
We'll zip back over. And hope I don't blow up and give Die Hardman a reason to question everything I do.
Restrictions lifted.
Yeah, I just feel like all the Die Hardman stuff, it's really at odds with the fact that this is an open world game, because I don't really feel like your experience of this is that much of an open world experience, because it's all very linearly told, isn't it? You can't go to most of these places before you get to them in the story, so it feels like it's kind of at odds a little bit. And Die Hardman's kind of a manifestation of that, where it's like, oh, please do this, please do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't try and have fun. Just be careful all the time. The way we stop on the zipline should probably set the bomb off, shouldn't it? let's head back down. So I don't know if I'm not going to be able to see it flashing by going this way. But... okay, so I need to head sort of southwest. Oh, there is one here. There's that one right on the edge, but we won't be able to reach that unless I pinch some materials. Don't think we'd be able to see that anyway, would we? I think that's more meant to come from down here, I feel. Let's not use any zips just to get there. Let's just try and get there normally. Let's just put a marker on. I won't need to put a marker on this place. Let's just head for steepish points and then see if we can use the climbing anchor to get down. Great bridge, mate. Really great. I've deleted so many bridges from the world just because they're in such random places sometimes. This should be a nice view. God, these holograms, I keep thinking that they're, because I've not seen any of these light-like spirits, that they're hearts. Can't see you, mate. Yeah, we got black strands everywhere, man. Ah. Oh dear. I'm doing this thing that I said I shouldn't do, really, aren't I? Can I see any of the zip I put on that tall peak? Let's not tempt fate. Let's build. Well, I'll build the zipline network on the way back. Oh, looks like we've got a little set of climbing anchors that the people have put down. There's the zip line. Oh, about 300 away. Look at this. I built these! It was me! Unbelievable, man. I thought these had deteriorated, but that's so funny. That is so funny. I can't believe it. Stop leaning back, Sam, please. Okay, and I think I ended up going down that slope, didn't I? An in-game portal light one of my zip lines. Thank you. Okay, that's a nice coincidence. How are we going to make it down here? Just about. How did I build another one? Good job, Matty boy. Right. Oh, yeah, here comes another copyright claim. Enjoying it, Beebs. I prefer saying Beebs to Lou, but... Yeah, my backpack cover is seeing better days. Okay, that's that means we've at least got spare ones now. Wow, this is really, really voted up, isn't it? What, about 200 away? Yeah. Being kind of funneled through here. I feel like I should be talking constantly to potentially get rid of the copyright claim, but I feel like I was silent for... If you're silent for... I had a claim on a Last of Us video, but I think it was 8 seconds of like some ambient song, and it wasn't even from the composer or Sony or any of them. It was from some random thing. It's very strange. That makes it look like a mule cam. So the lights, right? Those style of lights always make it look like a mule cam. Thank you. Excellent. Okay, that wasn't too bad because of my well-placed climbing anchors.
Beginning scan.
Yeah, we're out in the snow at least.
ID. Fragile Express ID verified. Weapons
Yeah,
detected.
my backpack cover
All weapons
is
will be locked until departure.
completely
Cargo
shot.
verified. Thank you.
I have one bomb for you, sir.
Delivering cargo.
Much appreciated, friend. Thanks to you, we can finally move ahead with the dig. I swear, this place is bad enough without having to worry about getting asphyxiated. Not that I need to tell you. You did it after all, though I can't for the life of me imagine how.
Good stuff.
You can set up the chiral network while I work.
Yeah, they got everyone, dude. An oxygen mask. Underwater. Level 2 hematics. Nice.
Anyway, as it turns out, Sam Bridges, I have a favor to ask. A local porter was on his way here with something very valuable. I dropped it en route. It's a 200-million-year-old ammonite, which looks, he says, almost as if it were still alive. He apparently stumbled across it in a boulder field which had previously been hidden beneath a glacier, but that's not the half of it. The man claims this ammonite has an umbilical cord. An umbilical cord. Color me skeptical, but the specimen merits study, and I wasn't about to leave such delicate work to an amateur. So I asked him to carve out the whole surrounding chunk of rock and bring it here to me. Naturally, I wanted to compare it with contemporary specimens in the vicinity. which is why I had him excavate a number of those in addition to the one he told me about. But what does the dumb fuck go and do? He loses the whole shipment. Didn't even have the good sense to mark which container had the ammonite with the umbilical cord. The cargo was supposedly lost in the area to the southwest, where toxic gases have a tendency to build up. Old Mr. Reliable claims his cargo scanner is broken, and there's no way he can recover the shipment. But you could track it down. To protect you against the fumes, I'll provide you with an oxygen mask.
Yes.
Just to be safe. You can pick it up when you accept the order.
That fossil could represent an epical discovery. While there are examples of viviparous fish, an ammonite with an umbilical cord is unheard of.
Ammonite.
And if it is indeed 200 million years old, it would also correspond with the end Triassic extinction, another one of the big five. Could the umbilical cord be connected to the beach? We must recover that cargo at all costs. It could provide a vital clue to the mechanisms underpinning the Death Stranding. We're so close. So very, very close to grasping the true nature of the phenomenon. Hurry, Sam. We cannot risk that ammonite being lost.
Alright. We're making good time.
New order available.
Let's go. I wish I could rest somewhere for the bag, but...
An oxygen mask, huh? Good idea. It'll filtrate the air and keep you breathing normally. In addition to protecting you from toxic gases, it'll also help to reduce fatigue from strenuous activity, making it easier to keep your balance. If it didn't have a limited battery life, I'd tell you to keep it on the whole time. But it does, so don't.
An improved version of the standard automatic grenade. Decide how much blood to put in it. Interesting. Oh yeah, let's just... I've got 3 memory chips. Let's just get them chucked in.
The Great Deliverer does it again. Much obliged.
Got Lochner. Yamaha. Oh, it's all bikes.
Thank you for your contribution.
All bikes. Is this product placement? I don't know. Powerful sports bike with an engine based on the so-called cross-plane concept and built around the idea of synchronized performance. The satisfaction of instantly being able to have the bike perform as you wish it to. Roboticists and engineers among the preppers hope to be able to apply the same ideas to develop an all-new Carol network-connected delivery machine of their own. Yamaha RD500LC, developed as a production replica of the YZR500, which Kenny Roberts rode into the history books in the Road Racing World Championship. This was the first mass-produced motorcycle to employ a liquid-cooled V4 two-stroke engine. Sadly, while it became the iconic premium Yamaha two-stroke, it only survived for a single gen. However, there are certain enthusiasts trolling the data brought back online via the Chiral network in the hopes of one day reviving this legendary machine. Kawasaki Z1. An export-oriented model created by Kawasaki in '72 with the aim of capturing the foreign markets. It was the first Kawasaki and indeed the first Japanese bike to use the DOHC 903 cm3 air-cooled inline 4-cylinder engine. And its ferocious speed made it the undisputed king of the highway. It was also admired for its beautiful design, with the pipes leaving the gas tank and pushing back through the side covers to the tail section. It's a model beloved by porters chasing the fastest speeds possible, having established Kawasaki as the go-to for full throttle riding as it did. Are these just Easter eggs? I mean, I have no idea. Okay, so we do have some mail from the Geologist. Thanks to you, Chiral contamination's all cleared up. Nasty symptoms though, dizziness, headaches, insomnia. At first I was worried It was all down to my isolation in the shelter and the intense focus on my research for the past year, but it got real bad when the nightmares started. I saw the end of the world, the portal to the beach opening and BTs pouring through by the thousands. There was nowhere to run, no time, and they began scooping us up one by one. Then the void outs came, bigger and bigger until a massive one, or several massive ones, enveloped the whole world and poof. Just like that. When I told Hartman about it, he likened it to the visions of extinction dooms sufferers tend to experience. It's strange though, after all, we now have incontrovertible proof that chiralium is far from a recent addition to our world. Anyway, that's a problem for a different day. The important thing is that I'm cured, and it's all thanks to you. Got a lot of data to read up on, but we'll pick up this order.
We need you to track down some cargo that was lost en route and deliver it to our paleontologist friend. As you know, this shipment contained a 200-million-year-old ammonite, which looked almost alive, if the finder's account is to be believed. I won't even comment on the part about it having an umbilical cord. Look, maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong, but it merits further investigation regardless. Make sure you collect the entire shipment so that we don't miss anything by mistake. It's more work, but it's also the only way to make sure we recover that ammonite.
Alright. How much stuff is it though? 1, 2, 3. So 2 smalls, 2 mediums, and 1 large. I could maybe leave some stuff behind. An oxygen mask with a hood attached. The mask will provide oxygen while equipped as long as there is battery power available. The mask will slow at the rate with which stamina is drained and protect the wearer from the effects of poisonous gas, such as VOG. The mask will drain battery while equipped. Be sure to keep an eye on your battery levels. Okay, let's get rid of the PCCs. It was what, 63 key of stuff, wasn't it? We've got the level 2 climbing anchors. There's 5 of them available. I think we should be fine with that. We look like a mule now, right?
Order assigned.
Ah. Someone leave a generator around here by any chance? Aha. Perfect. Let's make our way down. We charge off this generator. Maybe the weather will be a bit nicer down this way. I hope there's not going to be mules.
Weapons restrictions lifted.
We really do look like a mule now. Right, where was it again? Okay, so we've got to really go down into this canyon. So we probably need to get in and out quite quick, yeah? Stay in an area filled with toxic gas known as VOG and your consciousness gauge will be depleted. Once fully depleted, you'll no longer be able to move. An oxygen mask will be worn to protect yourself from these effects. Okay, someone's built a ladder there, but I really don't trust ladders in this game. Like, at all. So I'm gonna stick a rope down. I've had far too many experiences of falling off ladders. Don't trust them. Alright, let's get it all. Let's pick up the small let's pick up the smalls first. radium. Seems a bit straightforward, doesn't it? I thought that would have been more difficult. I've spoken too soon. Higgs is going to show up as soon as I climb up the rope or something, isn't he? How did the guy lose them all down here? Alright, let's get out of here, Sammy boy. Piece of cake. Alright, let's get this mask off. Oh, I did get a Santa hat for whatever reason. It drains battery pretty fast though, doesn't it? So we're just going to have to add this to a bunch of stuff that we always need to carry, right? I've got 2 different skeletons. It's always decent to have some climbing anchors and out of this, so we'll always have 4 small containers in this.
Beginning scan. Scanning bridges ID. Verifying ID.
Special alloys.
Weapons detected. All weapons will be locked until departure. Cargo verified.
There's some spare stuff knocking around. There you go, friend.
Delivering cargo.
You found it.
Yeah.
Let me see. I have to see it. Oh my. It really is immaculately preserved. Uncannily even.
Yeah, that was the easiest mission of all time. Volcano orange.
Thanks for bringing in that lost shipment, Sam. And yes, it did indeed include an ammonite with a bona fide umbilical cord attached. I've already sent some images and a preliminary analysis to Hartman via the network. Interestingly, it seems the surrounding strata contain traces of tar, which lines up with one of his theories. Anyway, I know you only just brought this ammonite here, but I'd like you to deliver it to a colleague of mine, an Evo-Devo biologist. Lately, she's taken an interest in the tar, and I think she'd be eager to examine this particular specimen.
It's quite remarkable, and that's to your credit. To clarify, she has been studying how the tar may have influenced the development of various organisms. Accordingly, I would ask that you also recover the tar collectors deployed near her shelter, and deliver them along with the ammonite. It would be too dangerous for her to attempt to retrieve them herself, which is why we must impose upon you. By aiding her research, we may yet inch closer to unraveling the secrets of the Death Stranding. We've already made so much progress with the data recovered by the network. With your continued help, I know we can accomplish even more.
Good work. New order available. Please access delivery terminal for further information.
Alright. So we're getting more and more concrete connections and more concrete evidence for the Death Stranding in the past. I think we just maybe need to consider fleshing some bits out here. So just gonna read. I'm not going to go to the Evo-Devo biologist in this episode. I'm just going to finish off the episode by reading some interview logs. Definitely none from Die Hardman though. Right, we've got a ton from Hartman, and this is his chapter. So let's just read all of Hartman's. Oh, not Freud, please. hate Freud. Can't believe that, right. Does the name Sigmund Freud mean anything to you? He was a famous psychologist, the most famous... No, he's not. No, he's not. Famous, but kind of useless, in my opinion. Freud formulated one of the most famous theories after observing his grandson playing with a spool of thread. The boy would throw the spool under the bed, thus ensuring that he could not see it anymore. He would then wind the thread in his hand, gradually drawing back the spool towards him until it became visible again. He repeated this process several times. It was apparently a game he played whenever his mother was elsewhere. Freud proposed that the process of concealing and rediscovering the spool was a coping mechanism, a way which the boy could put his mind at ease. You see, the boy was in control of the spool. He could make it disappear and reappear at will. This helped him to comprehend his mother's absence, not as something sudden or irrational, but as something controlled, and therefore not a cause for concern. A novelist named Franz Kafka later coined a term for this spool of thread, Odradek. However, he conceived it as an object capable of speech and autonomous movement. A mysterious being neither dead or alive, not alive. The Odradeks we use are perhaps not so different. These interfaces through which we experience our BB's perception of their surroundings are not unlike spools of thread. The connection between our world and the other side, the living and the dead. Human and BB. Just another kind of one of the more useless thought experiments Freud went through. I mean, he's one of the perfect examples of someone just throwing so much crap at the wall, eventually some of it's going to stick. Like the large majority of Freudian theory and analysis is just so... It has no evidence behind it, it's so based in conjecture. He's almost like a good fiction writer. That's the problem, which is why a lot of it sounds so good. But all of it's based on zero research, and he reinvented his theories. He has three spheres. Freud. He invented his theories, reinvented his theories 3 times, and it was all based on the same interviews that he did with Austrian divorcees, and that's all that it's based on. It's not based on anything else other than his theory of depression and melancholy, which is actually rings true to a lot of modern stuff. And obviously, you know, you can say he was the birth of the talking cure and therapy and stuff, but what his theories actually contain a kind of, I would always say that they're pretty useless, but I could understand why someone like Kojima, with the way he writes stories, would have interest in Freud, because it's all kind of, it has a lot of stuff that's unexplained and sounds good but doesn't have as much substance to it. So, a near-death experience. Until relatively recently, death could only be studied from the perspective of an external observer, and the experience of one's own death could not be communicated to another. A collaborative investigation of the phenomenon was fundamentally impossible, but through the examination of subjects in near-death states and the cataloguing of their experiences, we have at last been able to bring the scientific method to bear on this most final of frontiers. Even those in a state of so-called brain death exhibit signs of consciousness. What could this possibly mean? Moreover, why do some on the brink of death report out-of-body experiences? Furthermore, why do so many of those who have such experiences describe the same sensations of being beckoned towards a distant light? Many had argued that these commonalities were evidence of an objective reality, of a place beyond life. If nothing else, they at least suggested that death was not an instantaneous change of states, but a process. The beach has since proven much of this beyond a doubt, and the dead rising again as BT through necrosis demonstrates this process in action. The place beyond life is no longer a theoretical possibility. Its existence must be taken as incontrovertible fact. Interesting. Cave paintings and stencils. Cave paintings provide an invaluable window into the lives of our ancestors, how they lived, what they experienced. Some have been preserved here on our continent, although most have sadly been lost in void outs. The oldest cave paintings of all are believed to date back 64,800 years or more. But all of these are, or perhaps were, in Europe. What's become of them, I wonder? Have they too been obliterated in annihilation events? If not, are the caves containing them now infested with BTs? Does Europe still exist even? One cannot help but worry that these vital records have been forever lost to us, but I digress. These first paintings were likely made by the Neanderthals. They were crude depictions of creatures such as deer, bison, and horses, interspersed with stenciled outlines of large hands. Some assert these are the signatures of primeval painters, but could they not also be depictions of BT handprints? Could our ancient relatives have been trying to tell us something or issue a warning? Or is that perhaps one flight of fancy too far? Perhaps a little bit, but they might have had contact with BTs. BTs and void outs. The following conclusions are largely derived from a handful of eyewitness accounts. While I would advise anyone to take them with a pinch of salt, I hate that Americanism. It's not that saying makes no sense. It's pinch of salt, not grain of salt. I still believe they are worth sharing. BTs pursue their prey through a multi-step process. In the first, they begin searching for a target. The handprints left behind is evidence of this behaviour. Upon detection, one or more BTs will attempt to seize their target and drag it towards a much larger entity. To clarify, however, a void out does not occur at the point of contact between the giant and the human, but only once the human has been subsumed into the giant's body. We think this may be because this is the only place where antimatter is present within the entity. It goes without saying that BTs are entirely different from any creature that is of this world, and we have much to learn about them still. One thing is for certain, however, we must come to understand them, else we may never overcome the existential threat that they pose. Neanderthals are not extinct. Both Neanderthals and Homo sapiens are believed to share a common ancestor in the form of Homo heidelbergensis, but there are clear differences between the two. Neanderthals were brutish and brawny, well equipped to hunt larger animals and survive in colder climates, whereas Homo sapiens were slender-limbed and only capable of hunting smaller prey. But as millennia passed, Homo sapiens learned to create tools and hunt in packs. Okay, so just from an evolutionary psychology point of view, this kind of Homo sapiens working together, this is like that. This is the evolution of empathic development. So, empathy is like perspective reasoning. So, groups of humans working together, they were able to hunt effectively because they could plan hunts into areas they couldn't necessarily see, which is all to do with empathy and perspective taking. So, you could chase an animal you were never going to catch, but they would do that on purpose because they'd lead it into a dead end where it couldn't escape. Whereas creatures that don't have empathy, which is every other creature in existence besides Homo sapiens, can't do that on purpose because they can't see past what their eyes can see, as far as I understand. The Neanderthals, who actually had larger brains than the Homo sapiens, also fashioned tools of their own, but these were crude in comparison and developed little over 200,000 years, perhaps because these simple-minded beings favoured small family units, so that even if a breakthrough occurred, it was unlikely to be shared with others. The isolation, more than any other factor, seems to have led to their decline. Homo sapiens, meanwhile, conceived religion, with which large numbers of individuals could be bound together to service a common cause. Strength in numbers also made their communities more resistant to famine and other calamities. In other words, Homo sapiens grew stronger through interpersonal connections by creating what came to be called society. If we persist in our divided state, we risk losing this hard-won unity and dooming ourselves to the Neanderthals' fate, while we dwindle and die apart and alone. But history holds another intriguing lesson. Homo sapiens did not disdain Neanderthals. The two species even intermingled on occasion. Our DNA retains vestiges of our ancient cousins even now. So you see, while a species itself may disappear, its genetic legacy may yet endure. Yeah. Hartman's theory of evolution. The evolution of life on Earth could be described as the evolution of consciousness. When the first vertebrates clambered out of the oceans and onto the land, their consciousness expanded to process the new realm that lay before them, but their development did not end there. Their eyes moved from their flanks to their fronts, that they might comprehend the depth of the world. Mammals formed groups, increasing their chances of survival. Eventually they came together in communities and then larger societies. In order to preserve and maintain these structures, humans developed a perception of time. And in order for societies to outlast the lifespan of the individual, we conceived an afterlife and a future beyond ourselves. Alas, the Death Stranding threatens to undo all our progress. Consider the chiral network which incorporates the beach, where time does not exist. Or consider Timeform, which rapidly accelerates the degradation of that which it comes into contact with. How can our sense of time, honed over millions of years, remain intact when we must cope with such irrational phenomena? Yet, that is but the tip of the proverbial iceberg. We're growing apart, retreating into isolation, gradually losing our place within society. I would even go so far as to say our conceptions of reality are under threat. How could they not be, when our very eyes deny the invisible BT that stands before us? The Stranding has warped our consciousness in every sense. If the evolution of life on Earth is indeed akin to the evolution of consciousness, then what is happening now is undeniably a regression, is it not? There is one caveat, of course. Some of us are now far more aware of death than we ever were. That is what Dooms has given us. For me, therefore, Dooms is not merely a biological change. I prefer to think of it as the means by which I have achieved a new form of consciousness. Furthermore, I hope and believe that this new awareness of the other side is humanity's trump card as we seek to defeat the Death Stranding. So maybe Hartman views people with Dooms as a step forward in human evolution. Umbilical cords on Devonian era fossils. An article from an old scientific journal was recently brought to my attention. It predates the Death Stranding and concerns the discovery of a 380 million year old fossil, one of the Devonian era. I don't know what era that is. To give the period its proper name, it was a fossil of a fish, and in its womb was a child connected to its mother by an umbilical cord, no less. The species? Metapesis atembarugi. It's a placoderm, an extinct class of armoured marine creatures that used to live in seas all over the world. Unfortunately, most were wiped out during the Devonian era, right around the time of the second of the Big Five. In fact, as you may be aware, one of the key foci of my research is the link between creatures with umbilical cords and mass extinction. Once this area is connected to the chiral network, it is my hope that we will be able to piece together more data that will help us learn more about the link between umbilical cords and the Death Stranding. Okay, yeah, because umbilical cords are the thing that fosters life from nothingness, right? So, okay, here we go. The Egyptian view of the brain. This should be interesting. It is common nowadays to think of the personality, the mind, of consciousness as a whole, as phenomena born exclusively of the brain. However, to the ancient Egyptians, things were different. They believed that a person's soul, their spiritual essence, resided in the heart. As a result, the mummification process involved the removal of all internal organs save this one, the brain included. To the Egyptians, a man's car was represented by and contained within the heart, whereas the heart was made up of the other organs and the remainder of the flesh. Hardly a picture compatible with modern medical science. But consider for a moment the BBs which porters utilize in the field, and the brain-dead still mothers to which they are bound. Could it not be said that in turning our attention away from the brain and towards the heart, the womb, the umbilicus, in our quest to grow closer to the world of the dead, that we are perhaps returning to the old ways. Perhaps the soul is a very different thing in this world. Repatriates and void-outs. I've come across a number of old reports which make mention of humans who have certain powers which have led them to becoming known as repatriates. As we know, when a human and a BT come into contact, a void-out results, which is analogous to what physicists would term an annihilation event. These events occur when matter meets antimatter and mass is converted violently and abruptly into energy. The process is highly efficient, though some energy is lost to the production of neutrinos. Similarly, in a void-out, vast amounts of energy are released, resulting in destruction on a devastating scale which leaves behind a large crater. Void-outs triggered by contact with repatriates, however, consistently result in smaller craters. It's suspected that this is because energy is lost to the beach in the same manner that it is lost to neutrino production in a conventional annihilation event, and that in the case of repatriates the amount of energy lost is particularly high. That said, how the repatriate's body survives intact is a far bigger mystery, and one on which I will refrain from commenting until I have had the chance to examine one in the flesh. One notable repatriate is Sam Strand, a former member of Bridges 1, who left some years ago and has been making his way in the world as a porter ever since. I do hope I get to meet him someday, considering how invaluable he could be in advancing our understanding of the true nature of beaches and the Death Stranding. Okay. Bridges needs Homo ludens. I've already spoken at length about the new varieties of man that have emerged in the wake of chiral pollution and from the resulting phobias. Homo demons, Homo gestalt, not to mention those touched by dooms. This much is common knowledge. I, however, would posit that we could further categorise the humans of this day and age. Take our comrades Mallingan and Lochner, for example. They are creators, are they not? People who use tools to make things. Craftspeople, Homo faber. Consider Deadman. One who looks the dead in their eyes every day, one who takes their organs as his own. His relationship with death is transcendental, sublime. It is, in essence, his faith, and he a Homo religiosus. As for myself, Homo eloquens, a linguist, one who seeks to understand this world through the language of science and logic. There is, however, another very special type of human, a breed that would serve Bridges rather well, Homo ludens, they who play. Be it deliberate or unintentional, Homo ludens unite people, creating culture, shaping the very world around them, not through violence, nor laws or prescriptions, but rather through metaphorical acts of play. I know of only one person who matches this description, the one they call the Great Deliverer, Sam Porter. Despite Die Hardman's best efforts, however, his whereabouts are still unknown. Die Hardman's best efforts. Okay, so we've just got a bunch of stuff from Preppers. Lucy's report. Okay, just looking at the time, guys, this should be quite eye-opening, so I might read this at the start of the next episode, because this is about Sam's Lucy, Lucy Strand, his wife. We finally get to see her face. Not seen her face before, she's blurred out in that picture. Alright, so I'll leave that one there, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. We met the paleontologist and the geologist. Got the gas mask, we went and retrieved a bunch of stuff. Getting closer, we're inching closer to understanding the Death Stranding a bit, because with its connections to the other extinction events, the other Big Five. So we'll make our way to the Evo Devo person next time. We'll see her. We'll read about Lucy. I'm very interested in this. So, hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a thumbs up if you did. Just remember, everybody, never trust an on crate. Right, I'll see you next time.